What do a Chicago gangster, a tiny Estonian bank branch, and a Hollywood blockbuster have in common? They are all connected by the world's most devastating financial crime: money laundering. This isn't just creative accounting. It's the financial engine that fuels drug cartels, corruption, and terrorism. When criminal money gets washed, the global economy pays the price. Today, we dive into the staggering sums and shocking methods of the 6 biggest money laundering cases in history. The scandals that proved no institution was too big or too clean to escape the dirt. We'll break down the how, the who, and the unprecedented cost of these financial disasters. The originator, Al Capone and the laundromats. The mobster had millions in dirty cash, but one fundamental problem: how do you spend it without the taxman noticing? We start in the Prohibition era, with the man often credited with coining the very term, Al Capone. Operating out of Chicago in the 1920s and 30s, Capone made millions from illegal alcohol bootlegging, gambling dens, and prostitution rings. This era brought in vast amounts of cash, but it was all dirty. He couldn't just deposit millions into a bank without alerting tax authorities. His fundamental problem was placement, getting the physical cash into the financial system. His solution was ingenious in its simplicity. He bought a chain of laundromats. These were, by their nature, cash-intensive businesses, and it was nearly impossible for outside observers to audit their true daily earnings. Capone's accountants would simply overstate the legitimate daily revenue of the laundromats, mixing the illegal cash with the clean change. The laundromat served as the layering stage, generating fake receipts to disguise the source. Finally, the money was reported as legitimate business profits on his tax returns, the integration stage, allowing him to spend it openly. While he was ultimately jailed for tax evasion in 1931, his method established the blueprint for money laundering forever, giving the crime its enduring name. The cartel's banker, Wachovia Bank. For Mexican drug cartels, moving mountains of cash was their biggest challenge, until a major American bank decided to look the other way. Fast forward to the 21st century. The scale of drug trafficking by powerful organizations like the Mexican cartels demanded a banking system either complicit or catastrophically inept. Enter Wachovia Bank, which was later acquired by Wells Fargo. Between 2004 and 2007, Mexican drug cartels, including the infamous Sinaloa cartel, faced the challenge of moving huge volumes of US dollar cash back to Mexico. They would smuggle cash across the border to currency exchange houses in Mexico. These casas de cambio would then deposit the funds into accounts with Wachovia's US branches. This was the placement of literally hundreds of billions of dollars. Wachovia was found to have failed to apply any rigorous anti-money laundering (AML) checks, ignoring clear red flags such as large deposits of travelers' checks with sequential numbering. It's estimated that Wachovia facilitated the movement of over $380 billion in transfers that lacked proper AML review, allowing the cartels to finance their operations on an industrial scale. The U.S. government ultimately fined the bank $160 million in 2010. The fine size, however, was widely criticized as being dwarfed by the volume of illicit transactions and the profits made by the cartels, signaling a crisis in regulatory deterrence. The sovereign fund disaster. The 1MDB scandal. Imagine a government fund meant for national development, being used to buy luxury yachts, Manhattan real estate, and finance a Hollywood film. That's the 1MDB scandal. The One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB scandal, is unique because the core crime was not drug money, but systematic state-sponsored fraud and massive embezzlement from Malaysia's state investment fund. This case involves the use of sovereign wealth to enrich a few powerful individuals. The criminal operation allegedly siphoned billions of dollars out of 1MDB between 2009 and 2015. The layering involved transferring money through a global network of banks, including Goldman Sachs, and complex offshore accounts, obscuring its source. The money was then integrated back into the economy through highly visible, high-end luxury purchases designed to look like legitimate wealth. These included purchasing a $250 million super yacht, luxury real estate in New York and London, and even financing for Hollywood films like The Wolf of Wall Street. The scandal implicated top government officials, most notably former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, illustrating how state corruption can weaponize the global financial system. The brazen public spending of the ill-gotten gains, sometimes referred to as kleptocracy, triggered massive international investigations across 3 continents and highlighted the risk of political elites using national funds as personal piggy banks. The global bank failure, HSBC, a banking giant, allowed drug cartels to literally drop off boxes of cash at its counter, while violating sanctions against state sponsors of terror. In 2012, HSBC became a symbol of global banking irresponsibility when it was hit with a record-breaking $1.9 billion fine by U.S. authorities. The penalty was for failing to prevent its system from being used by drug cartels and for processing transactions that violated U.S. sanctions. The bank's failures were systemic across its global operations. In Mexico, the lax AML controls allowed drug cartels, including the notorious Sinaloa cartel, to literally deposit massive stacks of cash. The digital laundromat, Liberty Reserve. Before Bitcoin went mainstream, this digital currency platform became the go-to bank for cybercriminals, laundering billions with just a few clicks. As the world moved digital, so did the launderers. Founded in Costa Rica in 2006, Liberty Reserve was a digital currency service that explicitly marketed itself on the basis of complete anonymity. It became a global hub for illegal activity, known as the bank of choice for cybercriminals, drug dealers, and identity thieves. Before the rise of mainstream regulated cryptocurrencies, Liberty Reserve offered a way to execute large-scale, cross-border transfers instantly without providing real names or verifiable identity. Users deposited funds through exchangers who often operated without legal licenses. These exchangers served as the placement mechanism, turning fiat currency into Liberty Reserve dollars. The system allowed criminals to execute rapid, untraceable layering transactions across the globe. When the U.S. shut it down in 2013, they called it a $6 billion money laundering operation and one of the largest cyber laundering operations in history. The case proved that criminals were rapidly migrating from traditional banks to digital platforms, fundamentally forcing regulators to expand their focus to the entire virtual currency landscape. Understanding these historic heists reveals how criminal methods have evolved alongside security technology, but also demonstrates that greed, violence, and betrayal remain constant factors in criminal enterprises. Most of these successful robberies ultimately led to the criminals' downfall through either capture or internal conflicts over the stolen money.